Hello everybody, this is Thor Young with Bear Bull Traders, and I would like to do a recap for you on my trade today. I actually only traded one ticker today, UAL, had a really good time with it and thought I'd talk to you a little bit about really, let's take this topic to where it needs to be is, in order to be a well-seasoned and rounded trader, you need to have a well-developed playbook. And when I mean that, I mean you need to have different plays and different things you can utilize for different scenarios. When you hear of a lot of these, gurus out here and internet celebrities that are out here telling you about trading, they tell you that if you use their one simple strategy, you're going to be able to do this and you're going to be able to do this and make that much money. I'm not going to say that's impossible because I'm not so arrogant as to think that I can speak on all of their behalfs already, but I do believe that it's going to be the less likely scenario that you're going to become a profitable trader consistently so. In order to do that, what you need to do is you need to develop yourself as a trader, and you need to be able to use multiple strategies in multiple instances throughout the day, depending on how the scenario goes. Think about playing football, the American kind, and think about it as when the quarterback is calling an audible. You can't come up with your play at the beginning of the day and then just expect that play to work all day. You need to be nimble. You need to be able to move around, and you need to be able to do different things. So on UAL today, I actually used a few different plays on this one, so that's why I thought it'd be a good instance. One, UAL, first of all, we have Catalyst going on. You know, all my stocks are going to have Catalyst, and we're going to go off of that, and we're going to find some good levels. So keeping in mind in levels, guys, remember pre-market show, Carlos, Norm, closing show with Peter, and all those guys. These are the best places to get levels from the BBT community, right live on chat for you guys, right on YouTube half the time, right where you can get it right away. So keep an eye on those to get those. If you should happen to like it, I would go ahead and subscribe so you can get it every single morning. Ring that bell. So on UAL, we were all kind of dialed in on the airline sector. Certainly Catalyst came with some more potential stimulus and some other things like that off of the whole coronavirus epidemic. And you can see here that UAL had a beautiful trend pre-market. I mean, it was just moving up very nicely, making new highs. Everything looked good. It doesn't look like much now because the relative volume is a little different, but the volume was actually pretty nice. Things were really going pretty well, and you could see, it had already gapped up pretty good, and then it had sold down a little bit, found a bottom, and then it was moving up nicely. So when I'm doing these kind of plays, I'm really playing the pre-market as a continuation into the market. So you'll notice right here, and I'll get a little bit closer. Let me go ahead and let me add my header onto this one so that I can maneuver with it a little bit better. I'm going to pop this out to a big chart just to make it a little easier to see. So as you can see here, we had this area right here, $30, right? We had sold right up to $30. And wow, let's get rid of that. Sorry about that. All right, apparently it wants that to be on top, so we just won't go lines. So we sold up to $30 here, and you can see we pressed against the top a couple of times, and then it came down and found the average and came right back up, and then again it was starting to push towards $30. So in my mind, this is a pre-market breakout strategy for a continuation. Think of it as an ABCD pattern that starts in the pre-market. So what I want to see is I want to see it make a new high and break $30 on some volume. So when UAL opened, it actually sold in place right here, bought in a lot of volume, but it just hung right here. So I was like, all right, there's a ton of buying going on. So my initial thought isn't that we're going to lose and go weakness, but I'm still just waiting for that high. I'm waiting for that confirmation that it's going to come up. And sure enough, it makes that high, breaks over, and I'm in long. We get up, partial at pre-market high, couple more partials up here, and then it actually ran into a wall of asks, and it started to fade off a little bit, and I saw a bunch of selling volume start coming in. So I went ahead and sold off a little bit more, and then all out at break even. It came back and got me, unfortunately. So took a little bit of slip when it came through break even, but we were down to about 10% of the position by the time I had partialed everything off. So anyway, so play number one, pre-market breakout failed. Okay, what do we do now? All right, well now we're looking at something different here. We came back up after the sell-off. It bounced. It came up here. It broke back through pre-market high. It was holding pre-market high. So now what I wanted to do is I wanted to, break out of pre-market high. So this is a totally different strategy now. So I'm in at pre-market high. My stop out this time is the moving average, right? So we came back here. We held tight, came up here, broke up. I took a couple of partials. It actually pulled back pretty hard, and I took another partial on the way back here, but that was really unnecessary because it held nicely and popped up and got some great partials all the way up. It looked really good. So once we're back up to here, you can see we're coming into here, 31.64. But the main thing to notice here is we've got this volume by price here. I knew we were coming up to a high volume area. There was a lot on the ask up here. So we were just waiting here and it came off. So the next part of the plan is partialing strategy, right? I'm going to throw a lot into this one because I want to really get across the point that when you're doing an active trade, there's a lot going into it. This isn't just simple stuff where you're using someone's strategy, you're clicking and doing, you're managing this trade, you're working this trade. All right, so it comes up here, it fails, it comes back, pulls into the averages, comes in here, makes a new high, retests and goes. So I add in here. Boom, we're off, we're going. We do a little ascending pattern against 31.60 and we're off. So this right here was an add-in. On this ad, I use a different play that I use, which is a free roll. So I still had a pretty good, I still had about 20% of my position after this partial. So when it came back in here, I added in another equal amount of that. It adjusts my position average cost up to about half. So I was at 30.68. Here was my stop here, which was basically the loss of this average, right? Added in good, still plenty of room, never even worried about it. It went off and we're up. This gave me a position, the potential to add in, to double in my remaining shares, but it only risked my unrealized. So I love the free roll position for that. And I'll show you where a free roll position did not work, but again, it didn't hurt me. So we go up here. I had a way better than breakout than expected, and by the time I got up here to 33.80, just shy of 34, I was down to 10%. So really at this point I was thinking about holding the rest for the majority of the day, but started to sell off pretty well, got back to that same average, held it, made a new high, so I added in. This time I just said I'm going to stop all out if it gets down too close to VWAP. So I just added break even at my average cost and it came back on that 10% and I took it out and I was done. But for only the cost of, my unrealized, I was able, at this point, I might as well have just gone all out anyway. You know what I mean? There's just not enough shares to make it worth holding for even another 50-cent move at this point. It's not going to yield more than $20 or $30, so it's not really worth it. But if you can double that position back in, it exponentially grows as it goes up, right? So you're going to make a lot more money on a doubled position. So that 10% position could have been a 20% position. So that's what I like to do. I like to add into it, see if it works. If it doesn't, it stops out. No big deal. It's just a little bit off the top. Stopped off, came back through VWAP, tested VWAP, held it as support along with this previous resistance line, now holding as support. So I liked it. Had a nice engulfing candle that broke out on some really, on a really decent pattern. Came out of the range, held here. I went in long here, got some nice partials, then stopped out. At that point, done for the day. I was already well over goal here. I just decided to give myself one more trade because it looked good, and it worked. But you can see here now at this point, we've basically exhausted ourselves on the stock, and now the stock appears to just be chopping here. So no reason to get back into this stock. I don't see this stock in being very good to the downside, so I wouldn't be looking to short it here, because there's just not enough room here. If it shorts, maybe you get back down to $30. I don't know if there's enough room in there to really make a good RVR for a short. And it looks like the market is pretty much exhausted. So UAL is probably going to be done for most of the rest of the day. So anyway, that's my recap on UAL. I really wanted to go through this one. It's a little longer of a video for me, but we've got a 3-day weekend coming up, so why not do a little bit longer of a video? But I wanted to really talk about, that strict point. A lot of people get discouraged and have a lot of trouble because people mislead them and tell them that trading is very easy. and they say you can come in here, you can learn this strategy, you can learn to do this, you can do that, and you're going to be able to come out and you're going to be able to make, you're going to use a $5,000 account and you're going to make like $500 a day. And I'm not saying it's not possible. Again, I'm just saying it's a little less than realistic. What you need to be focused on is becoming a well-rounded trader with lots of different trading plans for the different scenarios that you're encountering at a time, and then follow those plans. If you do that and you can get a hit rate that's a little bit better than 60% with good risk management, you can become consistently profitable, whatever that means to you, right? So there's no cookie cutter method. There's nothing that's going to really just tell you how to do it and what to do it. You just need to get good at trading and practice trading. So I hope this video finds everybody well. I wish everyone a blessed Good Friday and an awesome weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing everybody next week. As always, keep it green. Thanks.